Hey everybody, it's Mike with Beyond Aesthetics, and you should have received a link to a Google Sheet that is your nutrition dashboard. Now, this is provided around the end of phase one, where you've started incorporating the first few habits, and now we want to start logging our caloric intake, keeping track of all of our food as we become more aware of how our current eating patterns and choices are comprised, how much energy they have in calories, and kind of how that's going to start affecting our ability to get results towards the goal that we want. So you're going to receive this sheet, and the purpose is to provide initial targets and timelines for energy consumption in order for you to see rapid results in this weight loss or fat mass reduction phase. Now, when you open the sheet, we want to break this down into 4 simple components, which we'll dive into separately on the following slides. All you have to do is come in here and go to the first section, section A, and fill out all the information in the white fields. And that should be fairly simple. That's your base demographic information as well as the goals that you have. So how much weight you want to lose, how quickly you'd like to lose it by, what is the target date, and then what time of day you work out. So that's all you really have to answer. So let's go ahead and dive into each component. So as we discussed, all you need to do is put in your information. And this is critical for the rest of the sheet, because not only is this make the determination for all the information across the sheet, but the great thing is it's the only part of this sheet that requires any activity on your part. The rest is simply view and informational. So with your weight goal, if you do not know what that is exactly, take your best guess. Make sure you put the start date for your program and what your body weight would be at the end of our time together. So again, if you don't know what that is, what would you like to see? What would you consider is a success by the end of your program? Section B is the timeline and rate of loss. So based on your start and end date, we look at how many weeks that is, and depending on how much weight you want to lose in that time frame, we determine is this an optimal, conservative, or aggressive rate of loss. Now, the reason we want to address this is to kind of bring you into for more or less what's realistic. Okay. Now, it's not to say that your weight goal is unrealistic, but there are rates of loss that are more ideal than others. So when we look at an optimal rate of loss, we're looking at 0.5% to 1% of your body weight in 1 week. So if you're a 200-pound male, that would be as much as 1 to 2 pounds in a week as an optimal rate of loss. Now, why do we say optimal? Well, that's because per pound that you lose, that's not all going to be fat mass. That's going to be approximately 0.7 pounds of fat mass and 0.3 pounds of lean body mass, so muscle mass and other tissue and water. So if you are in a more aggressive rate of loss, you're likely to lose more muscle in that composition. And then conversely, if you are in a conservative rate, then you're likely to lose less muscle as much or at least as possible. The next component is initial calorie range and macro partitioning. Now understand, based on the previous week of logging food, this caloric range may seem on one end of the spectrum. If maybe you've been eating 4,000 calories and now you're looking at going down to 2, or maybe it's not too far off. But in either case, this is just the initial calorie range that we want to establish. And this is going to ensure that you start in a caloric deficit. And the reason we want to do that is because most everyone likes to see results very quickly. And, it's easier to build muscle when we have less body fat. So the common question usually is, should I bulk first or should I cut fat first? If you have to ask, you're not lean lean enough, or at least in the ideal range of body fat that is the most ideal environment, hormonally speaking, to build muscle. So we probably want to trim a little bit of the fat, get those results down, get you seeing results, get you building muscle as quickly as possible. Now, make sure that when you get this calculation that you go into your calorie tracking app and you set your targets if they're not already set for you. In addition, make sure that you review the macronutrient breakdown, the protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and make those adjustments in your app. That way there's no confusion, and when you're opening your app every day and logging, you see that that is your range. Now, I advise that you sustain these numbers for at least 2 weeks before making any adjustments. There might be an adjustment period to figure out how you're going to accumulate that few or that many calories. That's fine. That's why we're kind of giving it 2 weeks, because the guidance for how we want to adjust will be given in the next phase. And then if you're not very familiar with calories and macronutrients, look at the bottom left of the page, and there's lots of videos on calories, energy, net energy balance, and then macronutrients, at least the basics to understand them moving forward. And then we have the last component, which is the macronutrient distribution schemes. Now, this is going to be determined based on your input when you selected what time of day do you want to work out. And then I've done the favor of splitting up how the common question of when should I eat my carbohydrates, when should I eat my fats, how do I make these calories fit my day. Now, there's no set program for anyone. It's really, I want you to select the amount of meals per day that best fits your work-life schedule that you can adhere to. And we will get into discussing each of these components in detail and why you might select 5 meals over 3. But the basic guidelines here are that your protein is distributed evenly across all of your meals, regardless of the scheme. And the carbs are usually centered around or organized to give you the best performance around your workout period. And then conversely, the fats are on the opposite side, or at least away from your workout time, and that is to benefit you in recovery. So if you have any further questions regarding this sheet, please let me know. Be sure to watch the additional video links below, as there's going to give you integral information so to best understand net energy balance and macronutrients. And there's more information to come with how to structure these meals, meal planning. There's videos that discusses each of these components in detail.